New this morning, we have a level 2 risk for severe storms in our southern counties. This is where we could see some isolated tornadoes. We'll go over the timeline coming up.
And police are surrounding an apartment building this morning in Raleigh after a man was shot. Coming up, what we know about this investigation.
And the Canes have one last chance to stay in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but fans are still confident for the team to pull off a win during tomorrow night's Game 4. A lot of fingers being crossed to see what happens during tomorrow. Thanks for joining us this morning on WRAL News on Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Starting off your Friday, pretty nice actually. We had a really beautiful sunrise, but we are expecting some storms later on today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner standing by with our WRAL weather alert day, Elizabeth.
Yeah, this level 2 risk came up this morning with the new update early on, and also pushed that level 1 risk up a little bit too. So we have the chance for some damaging winds across the viewing area and a small chance of some isolated tornadoes there in those southern counties. This storm system has been a doozy. This front's been moving across the country all week long. We had all those tornadoes in Oklahoma and Michigan, in Tennessee, and now we're looking at multiple tornado warnings in progress right now from the south part of Georgia down toward Florida. Most likely we're going to end up with some video out of that because these are, we've had this cluster of tornado warnings for at least an hour now. Nothing developing over us just yet, but as we get into the afternoon, we see all that daytime heating. That'll energize the atmosphere enough for some scattered storms to pop up. And you can see here at 3 o'clock, some storms developing in the south, maybe even all the way up toward Rocky Mountain parts of Wake County. At 5 o'clock, that's starting to slide eastward, but when the front itself comes through closer to 7, we may have one more round of some storms. The biggest takeaway from this is that we're going to see some waves of scattered thunderstorms starting at around 3, lasting to around 7 or 8, at least from the Triangle area southward. So again, here's the timeline, 2 or 3 o'clock up until around 7 or 8 o'clock this evening. Right now, it's pretty quiet out there. We're seeing partly cloudy skies in Wilson. The whirligigs are really not even spinning very fast. We have a southwest wind at 6, but later this afternoon we may have some gusts 20 to 25 miles per hour. We have already hit 70 degrees and we're on our way to 80 this afternoon with some muggy conditions. But the humidity drops significantly this weekend. I'll show it to you coming up, Ken.
Elizabeth, we continue to monitor a crash that happened right there on Lake Boone Trail, the exit from the westbound lanes of I-440. It just cleared within the last 30 seconds. We've been waiting to get on the air, so you can see traffic is flowing nicely in both directions near on this side, the northern side of the Beltline. Elsewhere around the Triangle, we have a couple of crashes that just popped up. Give me a few minutes and I'll figure out exactly what's going on. I'll have an update in about 10 minutes. But elsewhere around the Triangle, we're seeing the usual morning congestions that we see along the Beltline, particularly on the south side of the Beltline around Lake Wheeler Road as well. Good news for the folks coming in from Knightdale and the Zebulon area. I-87 South completely cleared this morning. And elsewhere in the Triangle, in Orange and Durham counties, most of the thoroughfares are delay-free this morning.
Police are at an apartment building in North Raleigh right now. They're investigating a shooting near Shanda Drive and Sandy Forks Road. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is there. Kelsey, one man was shot and police have been there for hours investigating.
Yes, Chris, and just before 5 o'clock, we heard officers say, come out with your hands up. And then shortly after, we heard about 10 pops. So we're working to figure out what that noise was. But you can still see that there is some police presence here, but most of the officers have cleared out. But let's take you to video now from earlier. It shows police pointing guns towards a building at this apartment complex on Shanda Drive. The man who was shot here was taken to the hospital and he's expected to survive. Police say they received a call about this shooting around 2 o'clock this morning, and we're working to find out if police have any information about the shooter. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on the details of this investigation. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A man and woman are hurt after a shooting around midnight in Durham. Police found the man on Barbie Road with a gunshot wound and the woman shot on Woodcroft Parkway. The video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows at least 23 evidence markers on the ground. Police say 3 empty vehicles were also shot at and an apartment building with someone in it. The 2 people were both taken to the hospital. The woman has life-threatening injuries.
3 other separate shootings happened in Durham in just over 24 hours. Last night around 5:30, a woman was hurt in a shooting at McDougal Terrace. And about 2 hours before that, an argument led to shots fired near the Durham bus terminal. No one was shot, but one person was hurt trying to get away. And that happened hours after a shooting near Duke Manor Apartments. 27-year-old Nelson Mendez Vasquez died and 3 others were injured. Officers did arrest 29-year-old Yelstin Cinto Orozco in connection with that shooting.
the stick of Orloff. Puck comes in front. Score!
The Carolina Hurricanes are down to their last chance in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The New York Rangers won in overtime, beating the Canes 3-2 in Game 3. They now lead 3-0, so the Canes will need to win 4 games in a row to avoid being eliminated. And Canes fans will get at least one more chance to cheer for their team at home. That must-win Game 4 is tomorrow night at PNC Arena. And fans were left disappointed after the Canes' overtime loss last night, but the Caniacs think they can sway the momentum in Game 4.
Disappointing to lose the third game, but I think we're still in it. We got, one game at a time and a few more to win. And if we get it to Game 7, I think we can win this whole thing.
You never know. The first step to getting there will be in Game 4 tomorrow night at PNC Arena. Puck drop will be at 7 o'clock, and tickets are still available. We looked. They start at about $178. And after the game, you can watch our exclusive post-game special. It'll air at 11:25 on WRAL. And coming up in 10 minutes, Pat Welter and Casey Hintz, they spoke with Coach Rod Brindamore about the team's preparation for tomorrow night's game.
Police say shots were fired at a car in a Sheetz parking lot in Garner. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there on Cabela Drive. That was around 2:30 this morning. Police say nobody was in the car and no one was hurt. The Sheetz store was closed during the investigation. And WRAL is working to find out if police have any information on the shooter.
Wake County deputies are looking for the person or people responsible for firing shots in Wendell. This was the scene last night on Wendell Boulevard near NC 97. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows deputies there along with Wendell police officers. There are no reports of any injuries.
There will be many commencement ceremonies happening in the Triangle this weekend. UNC's graduation ceremonies are tomorrow. The university added new safety measures this year after several protests on campus in the last few weeks. They include a new clear bag policy, and graduates will be required to show their student IDs. You're also not allowed to bring signs or flags into Kenan Stadium. Duke University's commencement is on Sunday, with Jerry Seinfeld giving that address. We reached out to Duke about possible security changes, and we haven't heard back.
And today, students at the UNC School of Law will celebrate their graduation. Their ceremony gets started at 12:30 this afternoon at Carmichael Arena, and Governor Roy Cooper will be the commencement speaker. And WRAL.com has your guide to all of the college graduations this weekend. You'll find the where and when, whether you want to attend or just avoid the traffic.
Stormy Daniels is daring former President Donald Trump to take the stand in his hush money trial. On social media, Daniels said, quote, "Real men respond to testimony by being sworn in and taking the stand in court," end quote. In court yesterday, Trump's team tried to attack Daniels' credibility. She provided details of her sexual encounter with Trump. The judge denied a request from Trump's legal team. They wanted to modify the gag order against him so he could respond publicly to her testimony.
Closing arguments could happen today in the federal challenge to the state's photo ID law. Civil rights leader and former state NAACP president, Reverend William Barber, could take the stand to testify for the plaintiffs. Supporters of the new law say that voter ID will stop fraud, but opponents say the law's real intent is to disenfranchise minority voters. The trial, which began Monday, is predicted to last 10 days.
Today, we are learning more about why Miss USA stepped down from her role. After the break, the letter with her reasoning that includes concerns over workplace harassment and more.
And remote workers are sharing their adventures at Disney World. Coming up after the break, we'll hear from a man who has done his job from the happiest place on earth for 2 years.
New this morning, we have a level 2 risk for severe storms in our southern counties, and our level 1 risk has shifted farther north. We're likely to have a round of storms this afternoon into the evening. We'll walk through the timeline next.
Welcome back on your Friday morning. You're taking a live look over beautiful North Hills this morning. You're watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Everywhere looks good for now, but it is a WRAL weather alert day. We are expecting some storms later on today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has a look around town. A pretty nice start.
It really is. We have some sunshine out there, some high, thin clouds. In some places, it's kind of that milky sunshine look. We take a live look at Goldsboro and Apex, Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. And of course, there's our newsroom in Fayetteville. Boy, this has been a doozy of a system. This started early in the week with all those tornadoes in Oklahoma. We saw them up in Michigan and in Texas. And now we have a serious situation happening happening here right along the Georgia and Florida line. We've had at least for an hour plus this line of tornado warnings that is affecting folks down there. We're not seeing anything right now along our end of the front, but as we get into some daytime heating, we are likely to have those thunderstorms popping up. It's a level 2 risk now for our southern counties. That's new this morning, so that's why we have a WRAL weather alert day. Isolated tornadoes in the south, but the potential for some wind damage or some hail in our central and northern counties is certainly a possibility. More cloud cover rolling in later this afternoon. By 2 or 3 o'clock, we're starting to see some storms developing in our central and southern counties. Futurecast showing a little break there at 5 o'clock, but when the cold front itself comes through, we'll see another band of thunderstorms coming through. So we're really not done with this until around 8, maybe 9 o'clock, depending on how far east you are. Once that front sweeps through, we are done and looking at really a gorgeous weekend. Drop in humidity, lots of sunshine, just feeling very pleasant. How much rain are we likely to see? Well, most of it's going to be from the Triangle area southward, 1/4 inch in the Triangle, and then maybe as much as a 1/2 inch down south. We've had some significant rain over the last week or so, so we've started to see the abnormally dry area shrink. So now it's from Raleigh to Fayetteville and eastward. Last week it was across the entire viewing area. As a matter of fact, for the first 9 days of the month, 7 of them have featured rainfall, and 2 of them have been at least a 1/2 inch. So we're very slowly chipping away at that dry April that we had. A beautiful weekend, of course, for graduations. Shaw at 10 a.m., 62 degrees. UNC during the evening at 7 o'clock, 68 degrees. Duke's graduation in the morning on Sunday at 9 a.m., 63 degrees. It's going to be dry, mild, low humidity, really, really nice. Mornings, look at those mornings in the 50s for the next several days. Now, we do start to warm things up a little bit into next week, but nothing hot, nothing that's well above normal. A good chance for thunderstorms starting Monday night, lingering into Tuesday and Wednesday. Ken?
Elizabeth, checking our traffic situation this morning. We're monitoring a couple of crashes that have shown up here on our traffic maps this morning. This one on Capitol Boulevard in the southbound lanes near Buffalo Road. Right now, we're not seeing any delays in that area, just maybe some brake tapping going on. So you might want to watch for some police activity in that area. Another crash we're monitoring this morning is on Durant Road in the eastbound lane near Falls River Avenue. This is way up in the northern section of Wake County. Again, it's not causing any major traffic delays, but here on the Capitol Boulevard, we're seeing some bumper-to-bumper traffic coming into the capital city. We'll monitor that and keep you updated here. Elsewhere in the Triangle, we're seeing the usual morning congestion that we're seeing in the south side of the Beltline down around Lakeville to the Gorman Street area. Also, we just showed you that US 1 Capitol Boulevard situation that's happening with the bumper-to-bumper traffic. I want to give you a live look now outside in Durham. This is I-885 and the TW Alexander Drive in Durham. Traffic is moving slowly, but at least it's moving into the capital city. Of course, we'll continue to watch it in the WRAL Traffic Center.
All right, thank you, Ken. The DMV is warning people about delays in getting your physical ID. The DMV says its usual 15-day timeline jumped to 6 weeks after an issue with a contractor. It's a problem affecting 50,000 people a week in North Carolina. Some people are worried how they're going to vote next week because the temporary paper ID won't be accepted at the polls.
Our ancestors fought for it, so not being able to vote, yeah, that's an issue for me. It really is a big issue.
I'm really interested in voting in this election, but I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to.
You can bring other IDs to the polls, including your passport or getting a voter ID card, which you can pick up at your local county board of elections. If all else fails, you can fill out a photo ID exception form on the day of the election.
A former Red Hat employee is suing the company in federal court. According to his lawsuit, Alan Wood is a white man who worked for the company for 8 years, rising to senior director. The suit claims Wood was a victim of Red Hat's diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, and that he was punished for criticizing those policies. He was terminated last year. In a statement, Red Hat says, "These allegations are baseless, as neither race nor gender played any role in the decision to end this individual's employment with Red Hat."
The Miss USA, who gave up her crown, is accusing the pageant's CEO of creating a toxic work environment. NBC News obtained a copy of the resignation letter submitted this week by Noelia Voigt, and she claims that she was left alone in a car with a man at a Christmas event who sexually harassed her. She says the Miss USA CEO did not take her claim seriously. She also accuses the CEO of bullying.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center with a new video coming out of Texas about the hail and the storms that were happening there. Take a look at this. These are a couple of meteorologists and storm chasers who were out. Look at this hail. It measures 5 inches, this size of piece of hail right here. There is significant damage to vehicles in the area. There's downed trees due to the storms. And look at it just in the roads as they're driving along. Power lines were also down, reported throughout the area. Thousands are without power. Tornado warnings were issued in several counties in Texas. This is Johnson City, Texas. Several crews have been dispatched to start the cleaning process, clearing down trees as well as some other debris so they can start to make repairs and recover after this.
Big piece of hail that you saw there, Jeff. Thank you. More than 100 people in Brazil have died because of heavy rains and flooding there. Authorities there are urging people who have been rescued to not return to their homes. That's because more rain is in the forecast. More than 160,000 people are displaced because of the floods.
TikTok will start automatically labeling artificial intelligence generated content in an effort to combat misinformation on the app. The company's decision comes amid concerns over misinformation spreading online ahead of the November presidential election. Other tech companies have adopted similar measures recently, including Google and Meta.
The Canes have one more shot to stay in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Despite their best efforts, the New York Rangers won in overtime for the second straight game last night, beating the Canes 3-2 in Game 3. WRAL's Pat Welter and Casey Hintz join us from PNC Arena with a look at that shocking ending.
Yeah, hey, good morning, everyone. Casey Hintz alongside Pat Welter, where last night the Canes fell 3-2 in overtime. They've now lost 5 straight playoff overtime games here. Boy, I think the players and the arena just stunned as what had happened, though. Andrei Svechnikov scores the tying goal there late in the third period, but then just a minute and a half into overtime, the Rangers, Artemi Panarin nets the game winner, and the Canes now 0-3 in the series, Pat.
In special teams, the story yet again. I feel like we're hammering this storyline to death, but it persists. 0 for 15 now on the power play in the series, and the irony of all irony, the Rangers score on a shorthanded goal to tie things up in the second period when the Canes had been playing so well. It's a little bit Igor Shesterkin, a little bit the Rangers defense, and it's about to be the end of their season if they can't figure it out.
It hurts. You got to be realistic. I mean, you're probably as down as they're ever going to be, and you got to feel that. I mean, that's the real, keep it real part of it. But then you got to pick yourself up. So come back tomorrow, and we're still playing.
Now, Rod Brindamore didn't quite call out the team, Casey, but he did say the power play is where your best players have to be their best. And that's what this team needs right now.
Yeah, this team that is down 0-3, he said, it doesn't feel good now. You've got to feel that. You've got to be realistic. He said he thinks it's important that they do feel this because now they've got Game 4 on Saturday with their season on the line. For Pat Welter, Casey Hintz, WRAL Sports, Raleigh.
And hey, after Game 4 tomorrow night at PNC Arena, you can watch our exclusive post-game special. That'll start at 11:25 on WRAL. The importance of mental well-being is at the forefront of public health. That's why WRAL spoke with an expert about why Asian Americans are 3 times less likely to seek mental health services than white Americans. This is in recognition of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
There's a multitude of barriers. There are structural barriers, for example, the language barrier, and the barrier of not enough providers who have linguistic and cultural competency to provide the care for us, right? And there's this deep-rooted stigma in our culture that it considered as a shame, and so people try to
disgrace on the family.
That's right. Losing face. So that's why we don't talk about it, and even we have it, we don't want to get help, right?
Lily Chen leads an effort by United Chinese Americans to develop community support and resources aimed at improving AAPI mental health. To learn their programs and resources, you can check out ucawaves.org.
The surprising trend taking off on social media, remote workers setting up their office at Disney. People in a variety of jobs are showing where inside the park they can plug in and get to work while also making time to visit Cinderella's castle. Matt Richardson has been working remotely from Disney for 2 years now. He realized that he could enjoy his favorite parks, he could create digital content, and also maintain a job at his tech company.
Important to my employer is that I get my work done, and that's my first priority no matter where I am in the world.
And some people caution that working remotely from Disney parks, so you don't take advantage of your employer. But those doing this say that they're adding magic to their work
As
day.
long as you're getting your job done, right?
Exactly.
All right, so look at this. It is the world's largest monopoly board. The town of Macomb, Illinois, had a big celebration to unveil the board. A woman who lived there is credited with inventing the game. Like traditional Monopoly, you roll the dice and move around the board, or in this case, downtown Macomb. You can win prizes along the way, like coupons for local businesses, or you can take a selfie in jail. The game's inventor's great-great-grandniece cut the ribbon on the project. I actually went to school in Macomb, Illinois.
You did, so I was going to say, do you recognize any of
Oh,
those
I sure
areas?
do. Chicks on the Square. That was a popular place on Friday nights where you get some good chicken. I love it.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool.
It was a fun time.
All right, coming up for us, you may soon be paying more for your gym membership. The price hike Planet Fitness customers will see after 26 years of the same $10 membership.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning to you. Your time is 8:26. I am Chris Lovingood here, bringing you a little bit of what we're going to be seeing today. But first, we want to check in with Elizabeth Gardner on today's Weather Alert Day.
And we have this level 2 risk for severe storms in our southern counties, and so that's why we have the Weather Alert Day. We also have that level 1 risk for at least the southern part of the viewing area. Damaging winds will be our biggest threat, but some isolated tornadoes are certainly possible in those southern counties. This all starts around the middle of the afternoon and lasts until around the middle of the evening, around 7 or 8 p.m., especially from the Triangle or, say, Rocky Mount southward. And again, the most intense storms could be down closer to the Virginia line. Taking a look outside, we're seeing a mix of sun and clouds. It's 70 in Wilson and Durham, 68 in Fayetteville. Whirligigs are starting to pick up that spin a little bit. We'll see some gusts 20 to 25 miles per hour this afternoon before the storms begin. It is going to be a warm afternoon with highs in the low 80s, Ken.
And here in the WRAL Traffic Center, Elizabeth, we continue to monitor a couple of crashes that's popped onto our sensors in the last 45 minutes or so. This one on Capitol Boulevard at Buffalo Road and this one at Durant Road near Falls River Avenue. Neither should affect your morning commute this morning. We are seeing the usual traffic buildup that we see in the south side of the Beltline, particularly around the Jones-Franklin Road area there in Cary, as well as US 1 Capitol Boulevard coming in on the southbound lanes, as well as 885 heading into the Bull City.
A man and woman are hurt after a shooting around midnight in Durham. Police found the man on Barbie Road with a gunshot wound and the woman shot on Woodcroft Parkway. 3 empty vehicles were also shot at in an apartment building with someone in it. The 2 people were both taken to the hospital, and the woman has life-threatening injuries. Next on Fox 50, new safety changes to UNC's commencement ceremonies this weekend. And up next on Today, the reunion between a top Marine commandant and a total stranger who saved his life.
We have a level 2 risk for severe storms in our southern counties. That makes it a WRAL Weather Alert Day. I'll show you what time the storms begin across the area and what you can see where you are.
And Raleigh police have surrounded an apartment building for hours. We're taking you to the scene where police tried to get someone out of the building.
And a busy weekend in the Triangle for college students and their families. The security changes you need to know about ahead of commencement ceremonies. Thank you for waking up this morning and joining us here on WRAL News on Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. A lot of graduation ceremonies happening this weekend, so a lot of people want to know what the weather's going to be like. For tonight, you might run into a few problems. This is WRAL Weather Alert Day. We do have that level 1 and 2 risk. Elizabeth is timing out the storms for us.
This is the front that we've been watching all week, and it finally comes through. We had some prefrontal showers and thunderstorms yesterday, but the front itself comes through this afternoon and evening. It's a level 2 risk in our southern counties. That's where we'd have a better chance of isolated tornadoes. In that level 1 risk, we could see some wind damage, and we could certainly see some gusty winds even as far north as the Virginia line. This storm has been producing tornadoes. We had an hour to an hour and a half just tornado warnings cruising across the northern part of Florida, southern Georgia. It looks like the last tornado warning has expired, at least for now, but that's been a rough patch for folks there. For us, we haven't seen anything developing yet, and it's likely to be mid-afternoon before we do. We'll see increasing clouds clouds. By 2 or 3 in the afternoon, we start to see this band of thunderstorms developing. It looks like it slides eastward, but then finally when the front itself comes through around 6 or 7 p.m., we see another line that develops and pushes eastward. So we may have a couple of waves of storms starting mid-afternoon into the middle of the evening before it all moves out. So starting around 2 or 3 o'clock, lasting until 7 or 8 o'clock, depending on how far east you are. Right now, we're looking at cloudy skies in Wilson. The whirligigs are spinning around. Even before the storms begin, we may see winds gusting 20 to 25 miles per hour out of the southwest. 70 is our temperature. We have warmed up fast, and it will be a quick warm up into the low 80s for this afternoon. Once this front moves by, our humidity drops significantly. I'll show you how much better it will start to feel. Coming up, Ken.
Elizabeth, at 8:32, most of our major roadways are delay-free this morning, but we are monitoring a couple of crashes here in the WRAL Traffic Center. This one happened on Capitol Boulevard in the southbound lane about an hour ago. It's probably in the clearing phase right now. It's on Buffalo Road. We're not seeing any delays in that area, but you might want to watch for some police activity as you navigate that intersection. The other one we're looking at is way up in the northern part of Wake County. This is Durant Road in the eastbound lane near Falls River Avenue. Again, we're not seeing any major backups, but elsewhere in the triangle, we are seeing that bumper-to-bumper traffic on US 1 coming in from Wake Forest. So give yourself some extra time if that's part of your morning commute this morning. And good news about 87, the southbound lanes clear this morning. It's usually some backup there. We are seeing, though, that southbound side of the belt line that we usually see this morning, traffic building up around the Jones-Franklin Road area. Keep an eye on it here in the WRAL Traffic Center.
All right, thank you, Ken. We're following that breaking news. Police have an apartment building in North Raleigh surrounded. They've been there near Shanda Drive and Sandy Forks Road for hours now. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey, she's also been there for hours. Kelsey, a lot unfolding here. This all started when a man was shot there.
Michelle, it did, and just before 5 o'clock, we heard police say, come out with your hands up. Now, most of the police have left the area now, but you can still see at least one Raleigh police car there. But let's just take you to video now from earlier. It shows police pointing guns towards a building at this apartment complex on Shanda Drive. That man who was shot here was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Police say they received a call about this shooting around 2 o'clock this morning. Gerald Towns describes what he saw outside of his front door this morning.
Taped off here, it was taped off up here, and when I got to the bottom of my stairwell right here, the police met me. They'll stay inside. So like, I gotta go to work. Go inside.
And we're working to find out if police have any information about the shooter. We'll be sure to keep you updated as we find out more. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A man and woman are hurt after a shooting around midnight in Durham. Police found the man on Barbie Road with a gunshot wound and the woman shot on Woodcroft Parkway. I want to show you video now from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. It shows at least 23 evidence markers on the ground. Police say 3 empty vehicles were also shot at and an apartment building with someone in it. The 2 people were both taken to the hospital, and the woman has life-threatening injuries.
3 other separate shootings happened in Durham in just over 24 hours. Last night around 5:30, a woman was hurt in a shooting at McDougal Terrace. And about 2 hours earlier, an argument led to shots fired near the Durham bus terminal. No one was shot, but one person was hurt trying to get away. And that happened hours after a shooting near Duke Manor Apartments. 27-year-old Nelson Mendez Vasquez died. 3 others were hurt. Officers arrested 29-year-old Yeselton Cinto Orzaco in connection with that shooting.
Off the stick of Orloff, puck comes in front, score!
Tough watch. The Canes are down to their last chance in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The New York Rangers won in overtime for the 2nd straight game last night, beating the Canes 3-2 in Game 3. They now lead 3-0, so the Canes will need to win 4 games in a row to avoid being eliminated. Game 4 will be tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at PNC Arena. Tickets are still available starting at $178. And then after the game at 11:25, be sure to catch our exclusive post-game coverage on WRAL.
Thousands of people in South Carolina are without power after strong storms there. Look at this video. Storms brought lightning and some wind gusts of more than 60 miles an hour. Heavy rains caused a road to wash away in one community, and downed trees brought down power lines throughout the area. No injuries have been reported.
Police say shots were fired at a car in a Sheetz parking lot in Garner. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there on Cabela Drive. That was around 2:30 this morning. Police say no one was in the car and no one was hurt. The Sheetz store was closed for the investigation. And we are working to find out if police have any information on a shooter. Wake County deputies are investigating after someone fired shots in Wendell. You're looking at the scene last night on Wendell Boulevard. That's near NC 97. Video from the breaking news tracker shows deputies there along with Wendell police officers, but no reports of any injuries in that case.
It's going to be a busy weekend in the Triangle with so many commencement ceremonies happening. UNC's graduation ceremonies are tomorrow. The university added new safety measures this year as well. That's because of pro-Palestinian protests on campus in recent weeks. A new clear bag policy will be in place. Also, graduates will need to show their student ID. You are not allowed to bring signs or flags into Kenan Stadium. And Duke University's commencement, that's happening on Sunday, and Jerry Seinfeld will give that address. We've reached out to Duke about possible security changes there, but we have not heard back yet. And WRAL.com has your guide to all of the college graduations happening this weekend. You'll find the where and when, whether you want to attend or just avoid the traffic.
An emotional tribute for an officer killed in a shooting in Charlotte. A memorial service and procession was held for Alden Elliott. The 14-year veteran with the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction was also a Marine. The service was held at Catawba Valley Community College, that's in Hickory.
President Joe Biden's threat to stop sending weapons to Israel if it invades Rafah is being criticized from both Republicans and Israeli leaders. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that if we have to stand alone, we will stand alone. Former President Donald Trump also slammed the decision. He accused Biden of abandoning Israel. In an interview with CNN, President Biden acknowledged for the first time that civilians in Gaza have died because of weapons sent by the U.S. to Israel.
Expect some delays if you're driving in Holly Springs this weekend. That's because of work to complete the NC 540 project. East of William Street will be closed from 9 tonight until about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's for that road project. The closure will be between the NC 55 bypass and Old Smithfield Road. Occasional lane closures may happen tomorrow night into Sunday morning.
Mother's Day weekend will be a very busy one at RDU. It's where you're looking live this morning. More than 300,000 people are expected to travel through the airport. That's a 6% increase from this time last year. Today's expected to be the busiest. People will be flying for the holiday, but thousands will also be coming to the Triangle for college graduations. If you're traveling through RDU, travel experts suggest arriving at the airport at least 2 hours early for your flight.
New this morning, 2 schools in Virginia will bring back names of Confederate leaders less than 4 years after those names were changed. The Shenandoah County School Board voted for this just after midnight. This means the names of Stonewall Jackson and Turner Ashby are returning to the schools. Those names changed in 2020 as part of a resolution to condemn racism.
A man is lucky to keep his leg after being attacked by 2 sharks. Just ahead, we'll hear what he has to say about the scary encounter.
Plus, where to take mom this Mother's Day weekend. Our recommendations for the entire family. That is coming right up.
Into next week.
Giving you a live look outside right now over at Pinehurst. You have some people out there driving around in the little golf carts there, hitting the links. Probably want to get that done with right now because today is a WRAL weather alert day. Elizabeth Gardner has been tracking that, including that update with that level 2 risk south of us there, Elizabeth.
We just got another update. Now, there's really no change for our viewing area. We still have about the same amount of folks that are in that level 1 risk and the level 2 risk. But the Storm Prediction Center expanded that level 2 risk across the North Carolina, South Carolina line back over towards Charlotte. So they did expand it, but it's basically the same for our viewing area. So we do have a WRAL weather alert day. Down in the south, we could see a few isolated tornadoes. Elsewhere, damaging wind or large hail would be our biggest threat. The southern part of this front has been producing a lot of severe storms over the last 3 or 4 hours. Lots and lots of tornado warnings. Most of the tornado warnings have expired for now, but we're looking at that possibility. That level 2 risk is going to be from 3 to 8 o'clock. The biggest threat would be damaging winds and hail, but in that level 2 threat, we could also see an isolated tornado in our southern counties. So we're going to be tracking that very closely for for you. If you have thunderstorms that start to approach your area this afternoon, this evening, just be sure to turn on the TV and we'll be tracking those for you. By 2 or 3 o'clock, we have a band of thunderstorms that develops and slides eastward, and then potentially another one that redevelops around 6 or 7 o'clock and then also slides eastward. And then after that, we're done with it. We're going to see clearing skies overnight with a nice drop in humidity and temperatures too. It's going to be a cool morning tomorrow. We're mostly cloudy here in Pinehurst. There are plenty of folks out there. It feels pretty pleasant. It's a little bit on the muggy side still right now with a temperature of around 70 degrees. So that certainly feels comfortable. Temperature wise, we're ranging mostly from the mid 60s to upper 60s, but we hit 70 in Durham, Raleigh, and Rocky Mount already. We'll hit 81 in Raleigh, 79 in Durham, and 83 degrees in Fayetteville. We're sitting at tolerable in terms of our humidity, but it will drop nicely behind our front. That front's going to open the door to cooler, less humid air, but we're going to bounce right back up to tropical by Tuesday and Wednesday as we have another chance for some scattered storms. Once we get past today, again, it's going to feel great. Saturday and Sunday mornings start in the low 50s, and highs will be below normal. 74 Saturday, 79 for moms on Sunday. It looks nice and dry and lovely. We do have that chance late Monday night into Tuesday and Wednesday of some scattered showers and thunderstorms, but for the most part next week, our temperatures will stay much closer to normal than we've seen the last few weeks.
Mother's Day weekend is here, and there are so many events to help you celebrate. WRAL lifestyle editor Kathy Hanrahan is here with Out and About's weekend's best bets. First, let's start off with a local music festival.
We've got so much going. Okay, so if mom loves hip hop, you might want to take her to Durham this weekend for the Beats and Bars Festival. So it's happening today and tomorrow at American Underground, and it's happening also in Lot 20. They're having so much: a pop-up skate party, a rap theory class, rooftop dance party, and even a fashion show. Tickets are $150 for both days, but it's just $80 for today and $100 for Saturday's ticket.
And mom is worth the cost, right? So what about last-minute shopping ideas for mom? Any pop-up markets maybe to check out?
You got a lot of options. Get those last minute shopping done. Okay, great ideas. Okay, first on Saturday, we got Cary. They're doing a vintage market on Old Apex Road. They're going to have permanent jewelry, food trucks, a lot of vintage vendors with clothing and shoes, even records. The market's from noon to 5 p.m. Then over in Raleigh, the Raleigh Retro Gamers are going to hold the Triangle Town Market from noon to 5 p.m. Also Saturday, of course, there's going to be more than 50 gaming and geek-related vendors. So much. And then Sunday, if you still haven't got the shopping done, Raleigh Underground Market's happening over at North Hills from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's going to be live music and more than 45 local vendors, food trucks, more fun. Admission is free for that one.
And if you don't want to just get mom a bouquet of flowers, there's an option maybe to take her to see hundreds of flowers out there.
I love this idea. Okay, Juniper Level Botanical Garden and Nursery in Raleigh is hosting an open house this weekend. They've got 28 acres of exotic plants. So after this weekend, the garden won't have any other open nursery days until July. So it's your last chance to really get in there and enjoy the flowers for a while. So it's a great opportunity for mom to see all the flowers.
There's plenty of things for you to do with mom this weekend. And to get more information about these events, go to WRAL.com and search the keyword Out and About. Thanks, Kathy.
A man attacked by 2 sharks in the Bahamas last month is speaking out for the first time. Marlon Wakeman has spent the last few weeks in a West Palm Beach hospital recovering from his injuries. On April 26th, the 24-year-old was bitten in the knee and the shoulder by 2 different sharks in the Bahamas. He was working on a boat at Flying Fish Marina when he slipped and he fell into the water where multiple sharks were swimming.
He grabbed my leg, the first shark did, and pulled me underwater. Got my left hand back up on the boat, and at that time the other shark came and hit me on my right side, on my right shoulder. And then after that I was able to pull myself back up in the boat, thank goodness, and call for help.
Thank goodness he's okay. Wakeman's captain was nearby and rushed over. He applied a tourniquet and elevated Wakeman's leg before he was taken to the hospital. Wakeman is still on crutches and will need to do some rehab, but should make a complete recovery. He says he is eager to get back out on the water.
New police body cam shows what led to a deputy to shoot and kill an Air Force airman. Officers in Florida responded to a disturbance call at an apartment building. This was last week. Body camera video shows Roger Fortson answering the door while holding a gun at his side. You'll see that here on your screen. Seconds later, a deputy shot him multiple times. The sheriff's office says the deputy acted in self-defense, and Fortson's family says he was on a FaceTime call and didn't know deputies were at the door when he answered. And this morning, recovery efforts will continue for 2 skiers killed during an avalanche in Utah. This happened yesterday morning at Lone Peak Canyon. The lone survivor talked with a Utah official about what happened. The man said he and his 2 friends were caught in a massive avalanche while they were hiking up the mountain. The skiers' identities have not been released, but we do know the 2 men who died were 23 and 32 years old.
The demand for cruises is hitting new records, and that means companies are looking to hire more workers. Royal Caribbean wants to hire as many as 10,000 workers worldwide this year. The number of people taking cruises hit an all-time high last year, and labor needs are growing with the surge. The hiring hike comes as 3 new ships have been added to the Royal Caribbean's fleet.
Top Border Patrol leaders are facing questions about ethics. This is happening after a visit to a tequila distillery in Mexico. Photos on social media show that Border Patrol Chief Jason Owens and others at this distillery. Sources say the facility is creating a special tequila for Border Patrol's centennial celebration. And now internal investigators are looking into whether the Border Patrol leaders accepted anything that would violate ethic rules.
The gym, known for low intimidation and low prices, is hiking up its membership fee. Planet Fitness is raising its classic membership for the first time since 1998. For 26 years, people have been able to pay $10 a month at the chain, and now the monthly rate is $15 a month. The Planet Fitness Black Club membership will not change. That's $25 a month, and it lets members visit any club and access amenities like massage chairs and tanning beds.
This morning is your first chance to see the U.S. Golf Association's new headquarters in Pinehurst. The new building will include the World Golf Hall of Fame, which you're looking at right now. The grand opening program starts at 10 a.m. This comes ahead of next month's U.S. Open being hosted at Pinehurst #2.
In the Hollywood Nation, we have a closer look at the Quiet Place prequel and new episodes of The Bear coming out this summer. Here's Ashley Dvorkin.
Chef Carmy teases Malkovich marks a first, and Cheers stars reunite in the Hollywood Nation. Ted Danson and Woody Harrelson are coming to satellite radio. The Cheers stars will reunite to launch their Sirius XM podcast, Where Everybody Knows Your Name, a reference to their hit TV series. The duo will talk about their time on the show and interview many celebrity guests, including Will Arnett, Jane Fonda, Simu Liu, and more. It premieres June 12th. John Malkovich heads to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. According to Deadline, the actor has joined the cast of the Fantastic Four movie, his first foray into the superhero world. Details about his role have yet to be revealed. Chef Carmy returns to the kitchen this summer. FX and Hulu released a teaser trailer for season 3 of The Bear and announced the show will return June 27th. Paramount Pictures dropped a new trailer for A Quiet Place Day One, starring Oscar winner Lupita Nyong'o, Stranger Things star Joseph Quinn, and Alex Wolff. The film is the origin story of the initial invasion of the monstrous aliens. It arrives in theaters June 28th.
Oh, that looks good. I want to see that. That was Ashley Dvorkin reporting. Well, some precious news for fans of Lord of the Rings. Oh, precious, right? That's how you're supposed to say it. The Oscar-winning team behind the blockbuster Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies is reuniting to produce 2 new films. The first of the projects is tentatively titled Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. It has an anticipated release date of 2026, and director Peter Jackson and his longtime writing partners Fran Walsh and Philippa Bowens will be working on the films. They will also write the screenplay.
I was about to say it's my precious.
Oh, there you go.
That's how it's done, Michelle. Singer Justin Bieber and his wife Haley are expecting their first child. The couple posted a video on social media about it. They also shared a series of photos. Haley is dressed in an all-white lace gown showcasing her baby bump. The couple also renewed their vows the same day as that photo shoot. They have been married for 6 years. And before we go to break, here's a quick look at your winning lottery numbers. And of course, we'll get you another check on weather and traffic. That is next.